is Lexi Jong, and here I like to talk about luxury beauty. Today we are talking about a brand new brand, Rose Inc. So Rose Inc. is the brand from Rosie Huntington Whiteley, and if you're not familiar with who she is a model who basically developed this brand along with the tech company Minimalist. So according to the Rose Inc. website, she has built a community that bridges beauty professionals and conscious, committed beauty enthusiasts. Rosie partnered with Minimalist because of the biotechnology company's history of delivering value and quality while operating with authenticity and transparency. And Minimalist is the world's leading manufacturer of sustainable ingredients made with synthetic biology. So these products are using sugarcane fermentation. They convert basic plant sugars into rare bioidentical molecules, which are molecules that mimic ones in your own body. So according to the website, it says, while Minimalist supplies these proprietary ingredients to high-profile beauty brands, they saw an opportunity to maximize their potential by evolving them into unrivaled skincare formulas. With the success of Biossance and Pipette, they launched Rose Inc. to demonstrate the power of sugarcane fermentation in skincare-infused color and sensual skincare formulas. So we're going to talk a little bit about these products. I picked up quite a few of the color cosmetics. I did not pick up any of the skincare products. All unopened products have a 2-year shelf life, and all of the products have a period after opening, or PAO symbol, on the actual product. That is the shelf life after opening. And another note that they mention on the website, no matter how beautiful a product looks on a vanity, it inevitably ends up in a landfill. At Rose Inc., sustainability outranks the superficial. It's a conscious decision, prioritizing long-term environmental benefits over the short-term benefits of opulent packaging. So they go on, they have an entire page on the Rose Inc. website about sustainability. And one of the things that they have focused on is they don't add any unnecessary weights, plastic or glass to their products. Caps and boxes are made no larger than absolutely necessary for the product. They do have simple designs, reusable or refillable packaging. I do have a refill to show you the blushes. All of the paperboard is FSC certified, and they are using at least 25% post-consumer recycled material in all packaging. They also have directions on how to properly recycle these containers. For example, I forget what it is, but I think it was this. This is one of the lip crayons. You know, you take this directly, can go in the recycling, and you know, the little like tube in here and everything can go in the trash, but essentially you can recycle everything else. So they have information on that on the website as well as on the packaging. So according to the website, it says they have directions on the packaging for recycling, but I have to say, looking at it, I don't actually see it. I mean, they have these symbols at the bottom, which do give you recycling indications, but specifying like which components go in the trash versus recycling, I don't see that directly on here. So it does have, you've got your little shelf life thing. Once opened, this is 12 months. This is for the concealer. And, you know, it has the FSC certification and everything on here. So let's go ahead and take a look at the products that I picked up. So Rose Inc. is available at Sephora, and it's also available on the Rose Inc. website. And I ordered from the Rose Inc. website. They have some sets there that, you know, some like value sets that you can purchase. One of the sets that I purchased actually was a blush refill, and the number 2 blush brush. So this was a set that I purchased from the website. It's not available as sets on Sephora, so just something to note. But this is the blush. You've got magnetic closure here. This is made to stand up, so it'll just stand up here like this, or you can lie it flat. And you have a mirror here, and this blush compact comes out. So you can see you've got the little holes here. Once opened, this has a 12-month shelf life, and the blush is made in Italy. this is how the refills come. So you've got plastic, and then this is going to be your metal pan here. Just a little bit of product information. The blush is 4.5 grams or 0.15 ounces. Again, it is made in Italy. And this is a lip and cheek color. So the blush you can use on the lips or the cheeks. Now, a little bit of information while we're swatching these. There are 6 shades of the blush, and this is a hydrating cream blush. So look how creamy that is. It's a hydrating cream that brightens and blurs with a radiant flush of color. So this is the shade Ophelia. Look at that. This pigment-rich formula contains a spectrum of skincare ingredients that improve skin health with each use. Hydrating squalane, protective vitamin E, and shine minimizing marine ferment extract. It's long wearing and buildable. This one here is heliotrope. It melts into skin for a smooth complexion that glows. This blush is also supposed to blur pores and smooth skin texture, and it's supposed to deliver long-lasting hydration. So we've got Ophelia, heliotrope, and I have a third blush. This shade here is Azalea, which is noted on the Rose Inc website as being Rosie's favorite shade. And these blushes are meant to be high pigment. Now, I have to say, depending on your application, will depend how pigmented you get the blush. It is recommended to use either your fingers or, of course, the blush brush that they sell. This blush brush here is the number 2 blush brush. You can see it's like a stippling brush. You've got some hairs that are longer than others, and it is angled. This is stiff, okay? So a stippling brush is meant to go and pounce. It's not really meant to swipe. And if you do swipe it, you'll find that it's not very soft. It's not very comfortable to swipe. It's really meant more for pouncing. So it works really well with cream and liquid products. This is going to be synthetic. It retails for $28. Now, as for application on these, I have found that my preferred method is actually to use whatever brush I used with my foundation. I just like to use that to kind of blend out the brush. And you know, I find that gives the softest, most natural application. Finger application will also give you, you know, kind of like, you can get a light application, you can build it. These are definitely buildable blushes. And then if you use the stippling brush with the firmer hairs, you're definitely going to get more pigmentation. So it's kind of like a gradation of levels that you can get with that. And again, these are all buildable, but for first layer, I find the lightest application will be with a softer brush. Like I always like to use my foundation brush that I used. It does, have a little foundation that kind of blends it out very beautifully. Fingers would be next. And then a firm brush such as the number 2 stippling brush would give you maximum pigment with fewer layers, if that makes sense. So these are the 3 shades. Again, we've got Ophelia, which is going to be a, kind of like your traditional pink blush. It's neutral warm. Okay, you can see there is a little warmth in there. Heliotrope is more of your nude with a touch of peach. And then Azalea is going to be red. And this is actually pretty neutral. There are some warmer tones in here as well as some cooler tones. It's really kind of like a brick red mixed with a berry tone. And it's going to give you this shade here. Let me show you a clip of the application of the blush, and then I just want to share with you my thoughts on this formula and the blush. Now, moving on to the blush, we're going to work with this shade Azalea here, and I have actually tested all of them. We're going to do the right side with fingers, so just going to get a little bit here. And what Rosie Huntington Whiteley suggests is she says to take a bunch on your finger, then tap it here on your hand. This is the part of the hand that she uses, and then tap it on here, or she recommends using her blush brush, of course, which we will use on the other side. And this blush is supposed to be highly pigmented, so less is more. Okay, so you can see I still have that much left on my hand, and that's what I did with my finger. So with the blush brush, we're just gonna tap a little bit on here. You can see it's more of a stippling brush and it's angled. Just gonna put a little dab on the cloth. And now I'm going to go ahead and wipe the rest of the brush off before stippling this in. Now I have to say, depending on what kind of brush you use, will determine the color. Now this stippling brush, this is a pretty stiff brush. It's a little bit more, you know, some of the reviews have said this is scratchy. It's not really scratchy because it's meant to be stippling, but it is firm. And because of that, it picks up the product very, very well. So you're going to get a very pigmented look when you're using this brush. If, however, I were to go in with, let's say, what I use for my foundation, something a little bit softer, something, you know, it's not a stippling brush, you're not going to pick up nearly as much product and you're going to get a much lighter, sheerer wash of color like this. Actually, finger pigmentation actually gives me a little bit more color than going in with a softer brush like this. When you go in with a softer brush, I actually get lighter color. Then the finger pigmentation is next, followed by the stippling brush. And it doesn't have to be the Rose Inc stippling brush. This is brush number 2, by the way. But, you know, something with these firmer bristles will give you more impact. Right, so here is finger application. You can see it's very light, very soft. There's just a little bit of color there versus the brush application. So actually my preferred application is to go in with whatever I use for foundation. I'm just gonna go ahead and put another layer on with that. So this is actually the Merit foundation brush. I'm just gonna get a little bit here, stipple that on. This is one of the more pigmented shades, so you're gonna get more color from this. But if you do this with, let's say like Heliotrope, or the other one I have is, I think it's called Ophelia. Yeah, you know, you're not gonna get that much color still. So here we go. So that would be like layer number 2. I just feel like going in with the foundation brush actually gives me a little bit more natural look. So I'm actually wiping this brush off. I'm just gonna kind of go over what I have from this one. You can see definitely color is there. And let me show you from a distance. So as you can see, I just feel like this side looks just a little bit more natural than it did with the finger application. So the texture of this blush is actually really, really interesting. So you can see, you kind of have, I mean, you can see the texture in the unused part and how creamy it actually gets. It has a really creamy kind of putty texture to it. It's not quite the same as any of the other cream blushes that I have in formula. It doesn't really have quite as much of that silicone texture to it. It doesn't feel as slippery, yet it blends out very nicely. I actually think this blush is a really nice cream blush. I like it a lot. I do notice, however, that it does fade towards the end of the day. So this is supposed to be long wearing, and I think, you know, after 4 or 5 hours, it has noticeably faded on me. So I don't consider it a long wearing blush. And texturally, depending on how much you put on, you do kind of feel something on your skin. It's not tacky or sticky, but it does feel like a moisturizer, essentially. So your skin feels moist where you put it. So it's not sticky, like my hair is not going to stick to it or anything like that. But there is something there. It's only noticeable if you actually touch it, you don't feel it. And again, I think that's supposed to be some of the hydration benefits of this blush. Overall though, I have to say that I like this blush and I think it's really comfortable on the skin, and I like the texture. It's a little bit more unique than some of the other cream blushes on the market. And yeah, so I like these. The blush brush, I think, performs really well with these. Do I think this is something necessary to have? No. You know, would I purchase this again? Probably not. I actually wasn't intending on purchasing this, but I picked it up because it was part of the set, and actually I saw Katie Jane Hughes raving about this online. And you know, if you touch it with your fingers, it feels soft, but if you try to swipe it on your skin, it's not going to feel that soft, partly because of the brush design, honestly. So, you know, for stippling, it performs really well, but I have other stippling brushes and this doesn't make any difference compared to those. So it's actually a little bit firmer than some of the other ones I have. So if you don't have a stippling brush, you might want to take a look into this, but would I say this is the best stippling brush out there? No. Next, let's take a look at the concealer. So this is the Soft Light Luminous Hydrating Concealer. It comes in 18 shades and it retails for $30. By the way, the blushes also retail for $30. And this is the shade LX010. And you can see it actually looks kind of grayish in the tube. It doesn't look so grayish on my skin, but it is kind of like a light neutral putty. So there are 18 shades again. And this is what it looks like when you blend it out. So you can see that it does have a little bit of a luminosity. And according to Rose Inc., it's a does-it-all concealer that brightens, blurs, and contours while nourishing the skin. This long-wearing liquid formula minimizes the look of fine lines, redness, and discoloration for an even complexion that glows. And again, it has skincare ingredients in it, buildable coverage. One of the things that I found was interesting about this, it claims that 80% of users saw a decrease in complexion redness after 30 days of use. So that, you know, I was curious about that. I have not used it for 30 days to see if that's true. And honestly, the shade that I have is a little light for me to use all over my skin, but it's nice and brightening under the eyes. Let me cut to a clip. All right, so we're gonna start off with the Rose Inc Concealer in LX010. And I've been using this for a little while now. I'm just wiping the wand off. You can see it's a big doe foot applicator. Just gonna put a little bit here. You can see there's actually not very much product there. We're going to do the right side here with a finger, and then we'll do the other side with a brush. And we're going to do 2 layers. And I don't have foundation or anything on yet. This is just the Surratt Perfectionist Primer. I'm going to use the mini base from Givenchy just to put that on underneath. All right, so this is 1 layer with finger versus brush. And there is a concealer brush. Wipe this off again. Just gonna get a little bit more. I did not pick up the concealer brush. I did pick up the blush brush, but we'll use that with the blush today. So there's finger. But here is 2 layers then of the concealer versus the brush application. Oh, got an eyelash. And just to show you what it looks like with foundation on, I added just a mix of the Peau Radiant and Fluid, Natural, and Matte foundations. And these marks, I guess they're actually indents, so must be, not sure what they're from exactly, but I didn't go and cover the concealer, so you can kind of see how the concealer is. Just want to show you what it looks like while we're starting off. So overall, I think that this is a nice concealer. I think it performs pretty well, you know, for the price point, $30. I think it actually works really well, and it does have a little bit of luminosity to it. It blends out nicely. It's, you know, around a medium level, so about medium coverage. And, you know, I do like it. I think it's a nice concealer. Do I like it more than the pricier concealers I've been using recently, like the Chanel and the Tom Ford? I do not. However, if you're looking for something at a lower price point, I do think this is a really good option, and I think it is a nice concealer. So This is definitely something that I will continue to use. It's not going to be something that just kind of sits there in my collection. And I will show you an update as to how this has worn. It has been just over 8 hours since I applied my makeup, and I just want to show you how everything has worn. So you can see I do still have the blush on, but it has faded in intensity a little bit. It's a little bit softer, but you know, I think it's still there. So with the lighter shades, to be honest, the lighter shades is not really noticeable at this point, but because I did use one of the more vibrant shades, the azalea shade, you do still see some present. See, the lip pigment has pretty much worn off now. I kind of helped with that though. Like I kind of wiped some of that off when I was eating. So I don't really like to wear lipstick or lip products while I'm eating. So I took some of that off, but there's that. And then I'm gonna bring you in to see the concealer. All right, so here's the concealer. This is the side we used with the brush. And you know, today I don't really have time to do a longer wear test, but you can kind of see where I have these like lines and creases here. When my skin starts to get a little bit drier, it kind of just like adheres together. Kind of like, you see this line here on the side? There's actually some like, I don't know if that's eyeshadow pigment or mascara that's kind of in that line there, but it ends up kind of being like that. But on this eye, you know, it's this line right here. So this is what the concealer looks like. So I think overall it holds up really well. You can get 8 hours. It's just when you're going closer to the 12 hours that I start seeing things. And most of the time that's about how long I have makeup on. So overall, brush side, finger side, I think they both look fairly decent, and that's it. So as you can see, by the end of the day, the concealer has held up fairly well, but you know, it still doesn't hold up quite as well as some of the other formulas that I have. You can see that although it's not truly settling in the lines, it's kind of making the skin a little bit tackier there. And I feel like I can see the lines a little bit more because it's like kind of like, you know, adhering, like the skin is pinching together essentially, if that makes sense. Particularly in this area is where I typically have this issue. So I've been wearing this for about a week, and that's what I have noticed. So, you know, I think overall it's a good concealer, but if you're going for a really long day, there are others that I like better. However, at this price point, this is definitely one of the better ones in my opinion. Moving on to the lip crayons. These are called the Lip Sculpt Amplifying Color. It comes in 6 shades. These retail for $26. I picked up 3 of these. And one of the things that I was very curious about is these are actually supposed to be ideal for dry, chapped lips and irritated lips. So I started using these when I did have dry and irritated and chapped lips to kind of see how it performs. These are supposed to have long wearing color, high color payoff, and again, they have some skincare ingredients and everything in there as well. And according to Rose Inc., it's an enriched, long-wearing lip crayon that delivers saturated matte color with the benefits of a balm. This velvet soft formula sculpts lips with a look that's smoother, fuller, and more defined. So it does twist up. See how high this can go. Okay, and it twists down. And this is how it goes. Okay, so you know, once you kind of wear down that point, there is no sharpener or anything for this, and this does click close. Okay, so you do get a secure close with this. And one thing to note, these are made in the US. I forgot to go over the expiration date. 1 second. So these have a 1-year expiration date as well after opening. And by the way, the concealer also was made in the US. All right, so let's take a look at the shades that I picked up. This one here is Quartz, which is what is currently on my lips. And in the lip swatches that I will share with you in a minute, I first go on, I outline my lips and then just kind of rub that in, and you can get a really soft, light stain that way. And, you know, that's actually really nice if you just want a little bit of color to do that and then just top it with some clear lip gloss. And then I go in with more layers so you can see the progressive build. And you can see I've kind of pressed this one to the side. This one here is Beams. I have to say this one looks different in person than it did to me in the swatches online. So just something to note there. And then this one here is Abstraction, which is your peachy nude shade. So we have, this is supposed to be a pink. Again, it actually looks a little different online, in my opinion, but you can see it's like a cooler version of the Azalea blush. And again, these can be worn on the lips. Beams here, you can see is actually brown with a touch of berry. And then we have Abstraction, which is more of a peachy nude. And I think these are actually a really nice product. So lip crayons I'm kind of picky about because they can be a little bit drying. And as soon as I put this on, my first thought was, oh, this feels like it's gonna be drying because there's not that much slip. But, that was with the light layer. But I have to say, even though it felt like it was gonna be drying, it really wasn't. I wouldn't say that it repaired my lips and I wouldn't say that, you know, it looks fantastic on dry, chapped lips. But what I would say is that it stayed comfortable all day. So, you know, when you're wearing a matte lip crayon or a lip pencil or something on your lips, and over time it just feels drier and drier and drier, that did not happen with these, and the color really does stay. So I am actually impressed with these lip crayons. I do like them. If you want to have some slip and emollient feeling on your lips, you really want to layer it up. Otherwise, it's just going to be like, you won't feel it. It's just pigment on your lips. My favorite way to wear these though, actually, is I actually personally prefer to wear just a light layer with the lip gloss because that's just more comfortable. Now, I did try these lip and cheek colors on my lips, but personally, I prefer the lip crayons. I find them to be more comfortable. I didn't really care for the blushes on my lips. If you're using something else, let's say you've got some lip balm or something on and you just want a little bit of color, the blush I think performs really well that way. But if you're using it solely as your color, I just didn't find it to be all that comfortable on my lips. And I found the lip crayons to be more comfortable. So yeah, I would have to say that these lip crayons, they're nice. I really enjoy them. Out of these colors, I have to say the Quartz and the Abstraction are my favorites. Beams, that was only okay. And then the last thing I picked up is the brow gel. And the brow gel comes in 4 colored shades as well as a clear shade. And these retail for $26. They have a 6-month shelf life and they're made in the US. So we've got 6.4 grams of product here. And this is what it looks like. Let me just put a little bit of the swatch here. This is 02. And I have to say that this, well, let's go through what the website claims first. So it's a tinted conditioning gel that volumizes and grooms for expertly shaped brows. This buildable sculpting serum conditions and strengthens each hair with squalane, pea sprout, and vitamins E and B5, so even sparse brows take on more substance. I personally disagree. So I think that this brow product really, it's nothing special. It's not bad, but there's nothing special about it. To me, it's really just a tint. I don't find any particular, like it's not that great at holding things in place. I don't find that it provides any volume. You know, sparse areas still look sparse. I think it's okay. I have not had any issues with smudging or flakes or anything with the brow gel, so that's fine. It does give a little color to the hairs that it goes on, but that's about it. So, you know, it's not something that I'm looking for. If you, however, are looking for just a brow tint, this may be something you want to look into. All right, so we're going to start off with the brow gel here, and I have shade 02, Fill 02. So you can see we've got a wand here. It's, you know, a skinny little wand, and this is, I'll just show you. So this is what it looks like. So this is the brow gel. They have this in 4 different colors plus a clear brow gel. So I hope this overall brand review was helpful. Just in summation, the items that I would pick up again from this line would be the lip crayons, the concealer, and the blushes. I find these 3 products to be really nice products. For me in particular, if I had to pick a favorite, it would probably be the cream blushes, followed by the lip crayons, and then the concealer. And then I would go with the number 2 blush brush and then the brow gel. So that's my ranking for the items that I picked up. I do think that this is a nice brand. It's a nice venture. Do I find it to be, you know, better than everything out there or other things out there? Not really, but I think it's like a good middle of the road brand. And I like the idea of the sustainable packaging and so forth. So it's definitely something that I will continue to try. If you're interested in trying something from this brand, my number 1 recommendation would be the cream blushes. I think the texture of those is really, really nice. I like those. And then again, I like the lip crayons as well. I think they're really easy to use. And, you know, the fact that the pigmentation lasts all day is really incredible. So I think those are kind of the 2 star products from the items that I picked up. Now, we aren't going to go through shade comparisons today, but please let me know if there are any that you are interested in particular, because the formulations are a little bit different. We're not going to go through those right now, but I'm very happy to swatch those in another video. And I hope this was helpful. Let me know if you guys are interested in this brand, what your thoughts are. Very curious as to what you think. There have been a lot of celebrity lines coming out, and honestly, I'm getting a little tired of them. I wasn't actually going to try this until I saw Katie Jane Hughes really talking a lot about this, and I do know that they are friends with each other, but I had to see. So I had to see for myself, and I do think it is a nice brand. So I hope this was helpful, and if you enjoyed this, please give me a thumbs up, consider subscribing if you haven't already, and I'll see you very soon. So have a great day and stay safe and healthy.